are BNE gonna win the major?
Oh, definitely, yeah. It's a possibility. I mean, I'm not gonna go there to lose, right? If I'm going there, I'm going to win it. So there's no chance for me to go with the mentality that, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go play the major. No, I'm going there to win. No matter what happens, I'm going there to win.
Finally, I found what I was looking for. Now that my search is over, it's gonna be a tough choice. But fortunately, no need to choose. When you can just have them all. Buy and sell skins on BitSkins.com.
Best esports odds. VIP program and a variety of bonuses. Fast and easy withdrawals. Bet on every possible CSGO match and tournament, as well as any other esports game. Only on 22Bet.
Here's a good vibe, here's a good vibe, here's a good vibe, good vibe.
And now I see myself. Perfect intro, okay.
We did say that this is gonna be a silly episode. I feel like it started silly, so let's just roll with it. Hello, welcome to HLTV Confirmed. Post RMR special. We have all the major teams confirmed. We have two major legends here with us. We have Striker and me, of course. Chad is apparently still on the bathroom, hasn't left the bathroom for 12 days. So condolences to Chad. So before we go into the whole show, Confirmed always brought to you by BitSkins, SteelSeries, and 22Bet. Thanks for the sponsors for making this possible. And now we can turn to our beautiful guests. Flatroo, you started the show. Are you now the host of the show? How do you feel?
Thank you so much for inviting me, first of all. Didn't expect it to start that way. I thought I'm gonna have to introduce everything, but yeah, you made it easy for me. That's it from me.
Okay, thanks. Thomas, how are you feeling? You're a major legend, man. How does that? Did it sink in yet?
Yeah, it was all pretty wild, to be honest. Unexpected. I don't think even after we qualified, we didn't expect legends at all. So, yeah.
Amazing. Let's Striker. How are you feeling after like 12 or 14 days of the RMR of like 24 hours CS? I feel like you're kind of wrecked.
I was yesterday. Like I was so done after the last series. I was like, please, like other people take over what I have to do for the rest of the day. I have to sleep. So yeah, I mean, especially with like how the Asia and the Americas kind of compounded and everything, it was pretty like high intensity.
Satisfied though, rate 1 to 10, 0 to 8, of course. Sorry, not 1 to 10.
I'd say 6, just because of some of the issues we saw in the other RMRs.
Okay, let's roll the bumper for the hot seat, and then let's get into it. I have a very interesting question for these two gentlemen. Lucas, take it away. While I was doing the research for the show, I actually found out that an interesting fact, and that is that you two guys played on the same team for like about a month in 2019, and this team was called Phoenix. And apparently, both of you need therapy after that period of your lives. What happened? What went down in that team? What was that team about?
I'll let Flatroo start this.
Nah, I'll let you start, actually.
I barely remember it, to be honest.
It's so traumatic that your brain just like deleted everything, or what?
Yeah.
It was tough. It was tough playing with Thomas, but
Yeah, for
things
sure.
got better. Things got better ever since, you know. But I think it was that time when we were playing with Mix. It was me, Tatsun, Synopsy, Regan, and Anarchas, and we were having like a really good run on ECS and some other online tournaments. And then we got an offer from Team Secret. But at the same time, I was trying out with Phoenix. It was kind of complicated, you know, because we were like a mixed team with Mix. And then I was trying out with the guys from Phoenix. And then that's how we kind of ended up splitting, because we got an offer from Team Secret, the mixed team that we were back then.
Yeah.
And yeah, unfortunately, our ways had to separate there.
Fortunately or unfortunately, Thomas, what do you think?
I think he's done great since. So yeah, fortunately. I think that roster back then was primarily from like Epsilon.
Yeah, that was like X Epsilon, and then it went on to be Endpoint later. I feel like that's kind of the transition through Phoenix, right?
Yeah. So we played a couple of tournaments. I think we were doing all right, but like it wasn't really like clicking. The team wasn't. So I think it was fine for everyone to go kind of like their own ways. Like me, Crucial, and Surreal, we stuck together, but that was more about like, you know, keeping the UK blood together, I guess. Flatroo wanted to go down his own route, and I think Spellan went to a Bulgarian team.
Yeah.
But like, just didn't work. So, you know, we tried it, didn't failed, so ditched.
You're saying there could have been another Endpoint alumni in the major?
Yeah. Potentially, yeah.
If flatroo had continued.
Potentially, yeah. Definitely, actually.
It's crazy when you look at some of these old results and like the overlap of players and teams, especially like tier 2, tier 3. And that's kind of why we got you to here, because like the whole RMR obviously was a lot of focus on, let's say, tier 2. And even when I say tier 2, some people are going to be like, what do you mean by tier 2? Especially BNE fans are going to be like, what are you talking? These guys are obviously top 5. They're favorites to win the major. Anything else is blasphemy, right? But obviously the gap is to some degree shrinking. But when you say tier 2, there's obviously teams that are constantly playing like the tier 1 events, all of the IEMs, all of the majors, especially like blast events where they're partners. They're kind of a part of the circuit which the average fan is going to watch the most, and they're going to be very familiar with maybe NIP or Big, and not going to be familiar with Into the Breach or BNE, right, to the same degree. So for you guys, let's just talk about like qualifying for the major and how much this means as a team that doesn't have those privileges of being a partner team, that doesn't have like the stable top 5 ranking, right? Now, for you, Thomas, what does this mean? What does it change for you guys to be a major team?
I don't know. I've never been in this position, to be honest. Yeah, we went in with 0 aims. I think everyone sort of also expected us to just bomb out, a bit like our fellow UK brothers. I think that's everyone's expectations of us. But pretty much, I think we were like one of the as a roster, we were the like shortest roster to be together for this event, and we didn't really have much time to practice. We were just baptism by fire, playing these HLTV officials and CCTs and stuff, and it was going well, and then it would go really badly. We didn't have the depth. We had no time to practice as well, because we played like 90 something maps in less than a month and a half. So we were just grinding it out, because you kind of have to, right? When you're like beginning as a new team, you have to see what works, what's not working, and you just have to do that via officials. But yeah, I think it's been great qualifying to the major. You know, Legend stage was we never even thought about it. We got told literally 5 minutes after we finished our match versus B8 that depending on the result with Flatroo's team, like he pretty much confirmed it then to us. So we were like sat there rooting for BNE, but I was always rooting for them boys, because you know, like previously being with Devil Walk and stuff. So
oh yeah, another connect. That's actually another connection, right?
When I saw them cheering up, I was like, "Wow, these guys are so nice. They're cheering about us." You know, I was like, "What the hell?" But then someone told me they're cheering for you because they're qualifying to Legends. If you guys beat FaZe, I was like, "Thomas, bro, like Are you really doing this
I
to
told
me?
him instantly, man. It's 50-50, bro. Like, yeah, I'm celebrating for
joking, man.
myself, but like,
I'm
I'm loving
messing
these
around.
guys. Of course, man. You got
I'm
to.
messing around, man.
But also, thank you for the legend spot. That's very nice. That's a
Yeah,
nice
cheers
bonus.
for that, flatroo. Appreciate that one.
I guess for you, flatroo, like the first time, maybe you can. This was actually one of the questions a viewer asked. Like, after you qualified for the major for the first time, what did that change? Like, going back in hindsight, seeing, does your approach, do other teams look at you differently? Do you get more opportunities? How do things work?
After the first major, we started getting a lot of invites. Actually, it was really nice. We started to also get the respect from the bigger teams, and we also started getting that confidence that we can actually compete with these tier 1 teams. And then when we were on server with them, it just didn't feel like we're missing too much against them. Like, it felt like we're so close to them. But of course, there's small gaps that we need to fill in, and that's one of the reasons that we decided to get Devil Walk in, because he's really, really nice in these micro managing these situations that people have no idea of. But yeah, it went good ever since the first major. It went pretty smooth.
Yeah. What about the financial aspect and just like the boost that gives you? Obviously, with the stickers coming in, it's not on your account now. It will be in like maybe 6 months or so. But you know that at some point there is kind of a financial bonus to you. And does that give you a bigger base to work from, essentially?
I mean, the first and second major we already had received the money, so it does give you a boost. But I feel like we've never looked back at the money that we received ever since the first major. It was all about the passion and the desire that we had about the game, and about achieving even higher heights, so the fire inside of us never stopped. Like, money, sometimes people make a little bit of money and they're just like, I'm cool with this, I'm just gonna carry on with life, enjoy life. But we didn't really want to enjoy life. CS is life for us, so we thought we're just gonna keep our heads up high, look forward, what's next, take the next steps and focus on CS and only CS.
Yeah, there's you guys know Overdrive probably. He does some of those like big interviews, and one of the questions he always asks is like, what is the biggest thing you spent money on from your playing career? What is it for you?
For me personally, I will be honest, I didn't buy a single big thing, to be honest. I don't know. I'm kind of.
You're still living with your parents.
Yeah, life is good, like food's ready every day on the table. I have my old car still, everything's just the same, to be honest. I didn't really make any upgrades. Didn't really need to, actually.
So, do your parents control your bank account?
I mean, I'm 26, bro.
There was one a football player, I think, from Albania that was at Hajduk in my city here, and his mom was controlling everything, and that why he was I don't remember. No, it was, I don't remember. It was kind of recently. Yes.
Sahid, yeah, I know.
That's why he was like always in control. If your mom is controlling your bank account, you can't go like too crazy. How people go when they get like a bit of a big salary.
Yeah, but it also the other part of this is that when your parents actually know you, they know how they fucking raised you. I mean, it's easier for them as well, Yeah. So they don't have any doubts on me. No.
Yeah. I guess I need to do a quick switch of my battery because I forgot to do it before the show. So Striker, please take it for like 3 minutes, 1 minute.
Yeah. I mean, I just wanted to ask about like if it still has to make things a little bit kind of easier on you guys, because obviously, we've been talking about this forever, that you guys have been looking for an organization for so long, and you've kind of made it clear that you don't want to just jump into anything. You just want to take your time and see if there's something that you guys really want to get into, right? So, I mean, having that sticker money just because, you don't have to have a salary, because like that's a decent amount of money, you're going to be safe for a while at least. So that gives you that freedom a little bit at least, right?
It does. In a way, it does. Yeah. We also most of our boot camps we finance them on our own. So we got rid of boot camps, travelings to the boot camps and everything. So we covered all these costs with the stickers money, I guess. So yeah.
That's pretty cool. I do remember who was I talking to? I think when you guys were qualified, I think for the first major, since you like didn't really have an org or whatever, and it was like, whose account are we transferring this? And I was like, oh, okay, we'll put it to Skinionaire. And like Skinionaire had like, I don't know how much money. Like, it was like, is this guy just gonna disappear and never be seen again? But he's still there, I guess.
He's still here because we separated the money. We didn't send him to his account. Who knows what would have happened if we actually let the money in his account.
So yeah, for you, Thomas, obviously, aside from that, you are bringing a UK team to the major for the first time. For the last CSGO major, we have a UK team there. What has that been like as the community reception? Have you had people like sending nice messages or shitty messages?
The support has been like overwhelming. Like, you know, in the UK scene, the scene's sort of dying. Like the events in the UK are dying. Even the ESL sponsored events are dying. Everything's dying in the UK. So like everyone sees this as an opportunity to like reinvest back into the UK scene, I guess, which I think it should be. But yeah, the support's been overwhelming, and it's nice to do it for the UK, I guess. You know, we've sort of been left out for a long time. We failed an endpoint a load of times, but like we finally got over the line.
What do you think was the difference maker this time? We had an interview with Crucial, and Lucas was asking this question. Like he as well is a part of a lot of these teams, and like went to a bunch of RMRs and played for like he's been playing for 10 years, right? In different capacities, never managed to do it. And he was like, "So what is the difference this time?" And he didn't really know the answer. He was like, "I don't know. We were just like, it's every time there's an upset team, and this time it's us finally, right?" Yeah. Do you have like a better idea what made the difference this time? Because obviously going into it, we also did the power ranking. We didn't really write you guys off completely, but we also thought out of all of the teams that are not really favored, you were on the bottom, right? You're just
of course.
You're an okay team, but like realistically, probably not going to make it, right?
Okay. Okay.
But
we'll see.
Reality is weird, right?
Yeah. Anything can happen at these lands. Like, you know, everyone was nervous. Every top team. You know, everyone was playing scared. Everyone was playing, trying to play their own style, and I don't know. The quiet teams were failing, which I noticed. The quiet teams were failing, but to be honest, I think that. To be honest, I forgot your question.
What is the difference this time? What made you succeed this time?
So just going back to like the endpoint, sort of like in Stockholm, we got unlucky with Boros's visa.
Yeah.
He wasn't able to like attend.
Especially now, we'll see how he performed. Jesus Christ.
He went to the one in Romania, the RMR in Romania. I think I don't know which one it was.
Yeah, it was Antwerp. Before Antwerp.
Yeah,
and,
it was.
This one was, I think it's more an endpoint other than like on Boros. I think they just didn't utilize him correctly. Like I played with him for a while, and I think that you just got to unleash this type of player. You have to just play around him instead of trying to put him into a system. And I think they sort of made a slightly big mistake with that. And then now, looking at him, he's insane, right? But for this run, for this team, I think that like the route just like fell in our hands, right? Like we had a really close series to Navi where we could have potentially upset him. When we went straight into Sprout, we beat like a couple of weeks before. We were confident, and they played us on our best map. And then we played Virtus Pro, and Virtus Pro was just like, I don't know, they were molding, exploding before the officials. Like they weren't looking like as a team, right? They weren't like looking like a team, and we beat them. And then somehow we got B8 because I don't even know. We just got B8 because they lost to Fnatic, and because of the boot hold system, we got the highest seed from Virtus Pro, I think, and they also beat VP, and we just got them. You know, it's kind of weird. I didn't really understand the system, but we were just playing every team in front of us, right? Like every team that we got handed, we were just like, okay, we just got to try our best, you know, perform. We know how to play. You know, we've got the experience in like Rallen and Crucial. we weren't gonna like let it up, you know. Like when it's handed to us, we have to try and just take it.
When you had that Navi match at the beginning, right? Like we all saw, like, whoa, what the fuck? Like we just took Navi into two overtimes, you know. Like, do you start believing at that point? Like, I mean, is that where you're like, okay, I mean, these teams are actually, like, even the top teams here are beatable?
Yeah, you know, like we went in with a kind of crazy game plan because we knew we were heavily like the underdogs, right? We messed up on T side. I was trying some crazy stuff to try and catch him off guard. Electronic was not caught off guard. He came for us, right? But the thing is with our team is the individuals of this team, because like players are unknown, like Volt, CYPHER and stuff, people don't really know them, but their individual ability is like they can frag, right? And and yeah, like once we got to the double OT, yeah, we threw like a 14-13 lead against them where we could have potentially closed it out. It was just like small margins. But like that really did like just fire everyone up. Like we can do this. Like Navi is probably the best team with FaZe in the group easily. And we've just took him to double OT. We could have beat him. From there, we just had full confidence.
That's it's an interesting thing that you said that the loud teams were the ones doing well, and I guess BNE are one of the loudest. I think I know you guys were talking about like balancing the passion and all of the hype. How has that been going on, especially with Devilwalk coming into the team? Have you toned it down actually, because you're still very fucking loud, especially the winning moments, but like during the games, did you tone it down?
I mean, that's the thing, because you kind of have to balance it out, as you said. With experience and with time, as time passes, you kind of get used to it, and you kind of start realizing where you should and where you should not waste your energy, you know. So in some important rounds, some key rounds, we actually do not save ourselves at all, you know, and the winning moments, of course. But before, we were going crazy after every round, and then was like, what, 30 rounds being played, and then every round shouting out, screaming the shit out of us. You know, it was tough, because by the end of the game, it was really tough. Like your hands were shaking. We were getting all these blackouts, you know, screaming and yelling all the time. So we knew we had to kind of like sort this problem out, and we knew that this could actually get us to a new level, which eventually is showing up pretty good, pretty effective.
Yeah, I mean, you're obviously again tier 2 team, but when we look at the group, at least we favored you to go through. You're one of the top 8 teams, right? So it's not probably the same exact scenario as into the breach, but at the same time, coming into this kind of an event, what is the mindset for you guys? Like, do you see yourself as favorite, like you have to go through, or is it like, let's take it game by game and see how it goes, essentially?
That's what we did when we came at the third major in the third RMR, actually, in Denmark. We came with really high confidence, and I said it in an earlier interview that we came with such high expectations that we just didn't want to focus in game by game, you know. Then we lost to one win, which was a really, really nice wake up call, you know. We were like, okay, let's lower the expectations. Let's take it step by step, focus on each game, make every single round important, and just give it our all, you know. It's like, take it step by step.
But what's the deal with FaZe, though? Like, obviously, when you look at FaZe's run, the teams that they lost to Navi, and then they lost to Mouse after you guys.
Yeah.
I think those two you can like say okay, but like BNE on paper they should not lose that game, right? But you beat them in Rio, and you beat them now again 2-0. So it's not really. Is there something about them that really works for you guys?
Well, to be honest, when we play tier 1 teams, we're a lot more calm, to be honest. I don't know.
Yeah.
The game feels much easier, and it's like goes much smoother, like in general. But when we play all of these tier 2, 3 teams, our level, it's kind of like a crazy pug style most of the times, and it's easy to tilt us sometimes, you know, kind of things get out of control, you know, but it
like
doesn't happen.
You shouldn't be losing this round, or you shouldn't be losing to these players. Like, why? How can this guy beat me in a duel?
Exactly. How can I lose a duel to this guy? No, all of this shouldn't happen to a professional gamer. So I think that's where we slacked a little bit. But with tier 1 teams, this doesn't happen often because they just play the calculated CS, you know, and then you know what to expect, you know what to not expect, and we do practice them regularly every day, and we always have good results against tier 1 teams, and we feel much more confident against them. I don't know why. It's just.
But I think that's kind of, we're kind of going to the crux of like why these like upsets and why some of the big teams are not going through, because okay, you can say not being as loud, but not being loud means maybe not being motivated, not being, you know, into the game as much, but also the whole respect side. And I think some of the teams, I don't know who said this recently, it was like someone said that they respect the tier 2 teams too much, essentially, which then backfires kind of. I think when I was watching Mouse, for example, I don't know who they were playing, maybe Bait or some of these teams, like they were making some plays that looked kind of stupid, but at the same time, like you need to do some of these plays, you need to actually test the other team to see, can they actually match up? Are they going to be watching the smoke? Are they going to, you know, because if you play against them the same way you're going to play against, you know, a Navi or FaZe and just expect that they're going to win all the rounds that they should win, then you're not really exploiting the weaknesses. And I feel like that is kind of the issue that some of these teams have run into. Like for you, Thomas, just playing against, for example, Navi, what did you feel like compared to, you know, playing a tier 3 team?
To be honest, I think, like, from my perspective, I think it's way easier, like flatroo said, to play tier 1 teams than like tier 2, tier 3. Tier 2 and 3 are just like pure carnage, man. Like, honestly, you go into a match and you play someone like Aurora, Monte, and these guys are just nutters, man. Like, something crazy is going to happen in that match, and it's going to happen. When you're playing tier 1 teams, nothing really is going to surprise you that much. It's just your ability to like actually find a solution to stop it, right? I think that's what happened. Like when we were playing Navi, we knew exactly what they were going to do on T side. Like we prepped them and we knew exactly what to do. But on our T side, we were just I don't know, lacking maybe the nerves a little bit. But once we got on CT, we knew what to do, and everyone just started shooting. Like it's as simple as that. And I think once you start getting a couple of rounds, like say you go like get 5 rounds in a row, then they start stressing. These guys are like, oh, we can't lose to these noobs, right?
Essentially what flatroo is feeling when he plays against like someone online is like, oh, how could this CYPHER guy outplay me, right?
But once you get into that like mentality, right? So like once you get into that mentality as a higher tier team, it's like it just snowballs downhill. Like unless you start winning, like your individuals start stepping up, you just start going downhill instantly. And I think a lot of teams like fell into that like rut. Like FaZe did great at the start. They went 2-0 in the best of ones, like the hardest part of the group stage. It's just a shame that, you know, they just I think just something didn't click, you know?
Yeah. I mean, they did get pretty tough opponents, right?
Of course,
Overall, when you look at it, it's not. Oh, if you're looking at this as being a major, then of course they should beat Navi and they should beat Mouse if they want to win the major, and they are a favorite to win a major, right? Still, regardless of everything. But you know, if we're talking about a major qualifier, they probably shouldn't have to beat all of these teams to qualify. But it is what it is. It kind of worked out the way it did in the end. They pulled through, and especially after 3-4 days, I think what we saw from them, we can talk about it later. It was maybe a bit shaky at the start of the Aurora game, but then when they kind of settled down, it was, you know, it was FaZe after all. And it's just, you know, if you give the favorites 4 chances, they have to go through. Unless if they play another favorite like Cloud9 did. So, well, unlucky. I think there was someone posted it in Twitter. Let me just find, not in Twitter, in the Twitch chat. I'll just read it. You motherfuckers don't even know what the real grind is. I have been grinding whole my life to get where I am today. I have been grinding when there is no online qualifiers every second week, no tier 2 events to prove yourself anymore, no face it or whatsoever. Essentially, it's the NiKo tweet, and he had another tweet after that. And he also spoke about the whole system in the interview after they qualified, which is obviously the best way to talk about it, so it doesn't come across as you being, complaining or something about how hard it is for you. But he did say, essentially that the system isn't good, that the system is maybe unfair towards some teams. What do you guys think of his thoughts and essentially the system right now?
I believe for tier 1 teams, the system might not like the system, but the tier 2 and 3 teams might like the system. So there's a good and the bad in both sides, So not really gonna have much to say in this one.
What do you think when you come here? How do you feel about, like, obviously seeding exists in every tournament, right? If you play CCT or you play online qualifier, there's always some form of seeding that's gonna. Essentially, the idea is that the better teams don't eliminate each other just based on the format, right? That the better teams should play against some of the weaker teams, and if the weaker team is better, they can go through. But if not, then the better teams go through. Yeah. Do you feel like, for example, for you guys playing a couple of majors, RMRs, and stuff like that, did you feel like you're fairly seeded throughout them, or did you feel like sometimes you just have like really shitty matchups that maybe weren't deserved?
Yeah. Sometimes it feels like we're having shitty seeding, but sometimes it also feels like we're having good seedings.
Yeah.
So it's really tough. It's a tough topic to discuss, to be honest.
It's all dependent, right?
What's the perfect solution to this then?
Yeah.
What's the perfect solution? There's nothing. Yeah.
What about you, Thomas? What's your take on the whole discussion?
So we benefited from the system, right? So like, I might as well sit here and be like, yeah, the system's great.
System's good.
But in reality, like, I remember playing the system in Berlin, which was a brutal system because the closed qualifier was as stacked as the actual minor in Starland.
The major that
yeah.
When
I played with you posted it, right? And when we played in the qualifier, we had to be like heroic to make it through, just to get to the minor. And I think that system is more unfair than the system we currently have. But like, I can't really see how tier 1 teams can argue that something's unfair because they're tier 1. Like, these guys are the best. No matter like if it's a best of 1, you're always going to be the favorite. Yeah, the tier 2 or tier 3 teams can prepare for you, but like, shouldn't you just like expect that sort of thing?
Yeah.
Like, they always have the advantage.
That's also kind of the thing that I don't like about this. It's like, oh, how do you prepare for these teams? Like, for example, BNE can, or you guys, you Into the Breach, you played Navi, and obviously, like, you can watch all of the Navi games, but you have more games on HLTV than Navi has in the last year, just in 1 month. Like, you have 90 maps played. You have so much demos out there that anyone that wants to prepare can prepare.
Yeah.
And this has been like my gripe for like 5 years now. It's like, oh, these unknown teams, no one can prepare for. Like, no, it's very easy.
And they have the extra staff, They have the extra staff. They're the tier 1 orgs. They have the analysts. They have maybe sometimes even 2 analysts.
Maybe 4 or 5 years ago, you didn't have these things. And it'll be like, of course, you're going to prepare for, you prepare for G2, FaZe, Heroic, these teams that you play all the time, and you watch them, and you kind of don't need to even prepare for them because you know these teams. And then someone new comes in and you need to put in extra work. But as you said, they do have, first of all, the privilege of like not having to play as many online games. So they have bigger breaks. Sometimes it's kind of difficult. And they also have the staff to back it up to make it kind of more easier for them. I feel like flatroo, you wanted to add into something. You like moved into the tier.
No, I was just not comfortable, so I had to move. Yeah. Even for us tier 2 teams, it's hard because we lack on. For example, us in BNE, we don't have a single analyst. We don't have a single psychologist. We don't have anything, and we don't bitch about anything. We're just like, I feel like nowadays tier 2 teams are a motivation to tier 1 teams into working even harder. Like that's my point of view, because these tier 2 teams, or I'll even take it personally. I'll explain my point of view. For me, getting to the major means a lot, means everything, and I'm gonna be willing to put in like I'm never gonna drop under 100 hours past 2 weeks, right? So I'm just gonna keep grinding. I'll finish the practice. After practice, I'll take a break, and then I'll go on deathmatch. I'll go play another 2-3 FaZe games. I'll put in the work, right? And then when I go to the RMRs and I surprise the tier 1 teams, I don't think they should be surprised. No, I overworked you maybe, because I feel like sometimes and some tier 1 teams, they're kind of comfortable with the level they are on, you know, and most of them don't put in the same hours as tier 2 teams do. Because I remember back in the days, who was it? It was me, BOROS, it was Plessa and Ral, and all of these guys you see at the RMRs. It was me, Rigon, GX, everyone. We would play the whole day, FPLs. We would practice all day, and then we would play another extra 4 or 5 FPL games until the morning. Now we would grind for 12, 13 hours. And then once you get into the RMRs, you get into the server, you have all that work put in. Of course, you're going to get the positive results, you know? And I think tier 1 teams should take this as a motivation, actually, to put in the hours. And I don't know, be the tier 2 teams then.
Yeah. I also like the mentality kind of side of, I also like the mentality side of things, because of like there was the interview with KDN where he said like, if you come here not to fuck it up, like you already a step behind, you know, like you just have to come into the RMRs with the mentality that, okay, we just have to be at our best level because we know what these teams can do to us, you know. And you see Heroic being super consistent, very rarely, you know, losing to some of these lower tier teams, and almost always qualifying for playoffs, just almost never getting off guard, you know. And even obviously, you know, we can say FaZe didn't make it, but they played tier 1 teams all the way through basically. And you guys, who seem to be just a really tough matchup for them apparently. So it doesn't necessarily apply to them, but you see from their mentality, you know, that they are super hyped like for these matches, and aren't like their super baseline where they don't really care necessarily too much. Okay, they're like up 13-7, but maybe they get a little bit more complacent. They give up that leads, things like this. You know, and you can see that come through these games against teams that, you know, just want it more essentially.
Yeah,
100%.
What is the, just a quick question for both of you, how many hours did you have in 2 weeks before the RMR?
Oh, I'm pretty sure I had like 105, 110 or something. 100, not under 100 for sure.
Yeah. What about you, Thomas?
Very similar. I had like about 120 hours, but I also had like offline work with my coach. So yeah,
that also adds up for sure.
I wanted to ask you, Thomas, about this CYPHER guy, because he kind of stood out to me, especially because of his play style. He's kind of like one of those, like, I don't want to compare him necessarily to Yakindar, but his opening stats are kind of up there. You know, he really goes crazy, especially on T side, just you know, searching duels and things like that. He was a big key for you guys, especially in those first couple of or like the first couple of games that you won against Sprout and Virtus.pro. Where did that come from? You know, I don't think he was necessarily too much on the radar in terms of like up and coming players from the UK.
Yeah. So Kai's kind of unique. He's no fear. He has no fear. He wants to entry. He knows how to entry. I think online it's so brutal when you're playing like the entry role, because people do some crazy things online compared to LAN. I think, you know, he had a rough series versus Na'Vi, but I think that was more about he's never played at an event like this, right? This is his first ever event. Same with Volt. They didn't really have the experience, but it's sort of like showed them, wow, we can actually like own, you know, we can do well against these teams, and you know, individually they can. But yeah, CYPHER, I would split between like you know, Kai from 9 with maybe Yakinda. He loves both of those players. He loves playing similar to those guys. Like he wants to root out the kills. But yeah, he's incredibly skilled, and it took us a while to suss out how to do it. But I think it just clicked, you know, at like perfect timing, to be honest. It just clicked, and yeah, helped us a lot.
Flatroo, did you ever think that Thomas was gonna become an IGL from your short stint in Phoenix?
To be honest, not, because he was what we were playing, like anchor positions and all of these positions, tough positions, and I don't know, didn't actually he kind of had the personality to be an IGL. I think it suits him pretty good.
What about his personality?
I know he talks a lot.
Yeah.
He's he talks a lot. He's communication skills
Smoya
are.
talks a lot, but he is not.
I mean,
I mean,
Thomas, things that he says make more sense, and he's like a lot closer to people. You know, like his social skills, I believe, are pretty good. And yeah.
Thanks, Flatroo.
I got you.
Appreciate that one. Let's go.
That was for me kind of a surprise. Like I didn't see it coming. Essentially, like I was looking at the team. I'm like, who's actually IGLing here? Like, what is going on? How did that happen? How did that happen for you?
Be honest, like I perform pretty well just playing like my roles. I think like I've always been like a consistent 1.1 rated player playing anchor roles and sometimes lurk. But like I kind of wanted to change. Like I stood in with this old Into the Breach lineup, and I was like, I wasn't really happy there. Like I was just helping them out, right? And after I took a break for a little while, like a couple of months, and I was like really thinking like I want to go to become like a caller, right? And I feel like not only is there like more opportunity as a caller, but like I needed a change in my path to like not only understand like myself and develop, but like at the same time I didn't want to be this guy who's like contributing, but like I want to be the guy deciding how the team is like sort of being done, instead of being the guy who tries to help the IGL, you know, like being the second guy, like
has no responsibility at the end of the day.
But I want the responsibility. Because I think I have the personality to be like a leader. Like I've got some all right charisma. I just think that is what like a lot of people lack as well as a leader. I'm mainly anchoring onto my coach for the tactical side, and I'm learning. Obviously, you have to. I've only been doing it for 2 months. But yeah, like you just gotta take it head on, right? You can't sit there and be like, I want to go back to frag. And sometimes I sit there and I just want to go kill people, but you gotta hold yourself back.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the coach? Because I don't think that's completely a guy outside of my radar. Like I have no idea where he comes from, what he's doing, like why is he a coach?
Gustavo Alexandre, aka Juve, 20 years old.
That's exactly my point.
The dude is 20 years old, and
like he's just out of nowhere.
Yeah, so it's quite interesting. So Juve's a great coach. He's very young, and I think that a lot of credit is due to him for us even making it, because the anti-strat, the game plans, I totally gave it to him and also Rallen to do, because I don't want to mess it up myself. I'd rather them trust in their words essentially and just execute the plan. But yeah, Juve, he's older than he is, if that makes sense.
Okay.
His character and everything. Yeah, so he ain't 20, he's more like 45 in my eyes. Like but nah, he's really been great for the team, and I've never thought about his age factoring into it. He never wanted to be a player. He loved the tactical side of the game, and I think if you have that mentality and the understanding of the game, it doesn't matter, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But where did you guys even get him from? Like, I mean, I see that he was with like FTW, but like, how do you come across this guy? Like,
he worked with a previous team.
Yeah, his team breakdown on HLTV is just hilarious. FTW into the breach, X into the breach, into the breach, X into the breach, into the bin, into the breach. That is his team history. It's fucking hilarious.
No, but he's great.
Good. Shout out to him. Shout out to Juve. Shout out to Devil Walk. And shout out to Crystal.
Definitely.
You got Crystal on as a small, like, no chance reunion over there. So it's a funny overlap between these like two teams and the stories.
Yeah.
You did speak about like not having like, support staff and all of these things on BNE. Crystal joined now before the RMR, right? What is his role in all of this, and is he gonna stick around for the major?
I believe so. But he's usually more focused on the tactical side of game, bringing in new strats, bringing in new tactics, explaining the rotations and how the things are gonna work. Smokes, mollies, flashes, setting up strats, setting up flash plays, all of these things, which I believe are gonna set the bar even higher. I'm pretty sure, to be honest. It already showed in the RMR, but yeah.
For you, Synopsy is still calling, right? That did not change.
Yeah.
Because obviously when the team was formed, Scenario was a caller early on, and then you switched to Synopsy, and that has kind of stuck around, and you stuck with the same core of players. Like, actually, now that I think about it, you're one of the more stable teams around. Like, Striker would probably maybe keep a track of this a bit more, but like, it's been a while since you. How long has it been, actually? Like, this team came about like 2020 late or something like that?
Nah, it's not more than a year and a half, maybe.
Okay, but that's
no,
also
but I mean, but that's the whole team, right? But like the
whole
three
team
of you played together for a long time.
From ECS
From Secret,
times.
no?
Team
Like
Secret, yeah. It's like 3 years, maybe. Should be around 2 to 3 years, definitely. Yeah.
What do you think is the next step for you guys? Like, now you're going to play Melbourne next, and so essentially tell me about like kind of your moving from here goals.
We're definitely trying to shift into a more consistent tier 1 team. I will be honest, I don't think we're a tier 2 team anymore. We're in between tier 1 and tier 2, I believe.
Yeah.
So with the right amount of work and with the right staff that we have right now, I think there's just gonna be good times ahead of us if we put in the work and if we continue the grind as we always did. I think we're making really, really good improvements in every area, to be honest.
What are your win conditions or something that you feel like you need to add essentially to become that more like consistent team?
These tier 1 events, tier 2 events, I feel like we need to end them with a win. Like, let's say Melbourne now, we're going for the win. Like, that's a good way to show that we're actually heading into the right direction and actually trying to achieve our goals. Also, the majors, making it as further as possible and even win it all, to be honest. Like, I really believe we are pretty confident we can even win it all. Like, it might be a small percentage for some people, but in my eyes, it's always possible, because I don't think tier 1 teams, like the top 5, top 10 teams, are far away from the tier 2 teams. Aim wise, I would say some tier 2 teams shoot even better than some tier 1 teams. It's more about the experience that these tier 1 teams have, and it's more about the discipline and the staff inside of them, and experience as well. Definitely experience is a huge factor.
Yeah,
in this case.
So you're down with the BNE fans that see you. Like, there's a lot of questions like, are BNE gonna win the major? BNE
definitely,
major.
Yeah. It's a possibility. I mean, I'm not gonna go there to lose, right? If I'm going there, I'm going to win it. So there's no chance for me to go with the mentality that, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go play the major. No, I'm going there to win. No matter what happens, I'm going there to win. No.
I mean, considering we saw Virtus.pro win the last major, and going into it, I don't know where they would be ranked. Probably not
like in top 10 something.
Yeah, top 10-ish. And I don't know, even when you look at the best teams in the world, which is like G2, Heroic, Navi, FaZe, like, obviously there is no like one super dominant team now that seems unbeatable. So, and it does feel like anything can happen once again.
I mean, we beat FaZe right after they won the major, and then we beat FaZe right after they won the Grand Slam. So nothing's impossible, right?
What is you did mention like winning like essentially like a tier 2 tournament. That is kind of your goal right now. Then something that's very achievable.
Yeah.
You did play the Malta event where that was the grand final against
yeah, it was against
Eternal Fire. There's the xCloud. There's a lot of things going on. That was a weird event. I know there were some issues.
It was really weird.
There's the Ninja Diffuse and all of these things.
Yeah.
But after that, how did you rate that? How did you go assess that result?
We didn't take it too close to our hearts. No, we really just wanted to learn as much as we can. At the end of the day, it was not a major. It was Malta CCT, just another tier 2 tournament. It was a really, really good experience for us at the end of the day, which is priceless, you know. We tried to see the mistakes that we did, fix the mistakes. You also gain the experience of having those close games, you know. For our mental side of the game, it was really nice. Played a really, really good role. So yeah, it prepared us a lot, to be honest, for the future. There was a lot to learn from that, and yeah.
Kind of crazy. Like I was looking through, I'm always like BNE are really just a major team, and like I was looking through like your past results, and you barely played anything else like in terms of like at least tier 2, tier 1 lands in terms of that.
Yeah.
Between PGL major and now, basically like it's only like the last couple of months that you played the CCT final, and that's pretty much all in terms of like tier 2 events that you guys got to play on LAN. So
yeah,
I wonder about this like Melbourne tournament. Obviously it's kind of close to the major, but I guess with enough time in between to like not get fucked by all the time zone differences and all that stuff, you have some time to recover.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you do need like more of these tournaments to play to elevate your level?
Definitely, yeah. A lot more LAN tournaments, definitely, yeah, and a lot less online tournaments, which is super exhausting, I swear, man. And then
you struggle in those qualifiers, man. Like that's why you haven't played a big event, because you haven't passed any of these like online open quals.
Yeah, but there was also not many of them. So, but I mean, Melbourne is pretty important for us right now because first place also secures the ESL Pro League, spot, and that's definitely one of our big goals right now, reaching EPL, and that's where we can also show ourselves.
For you, Thomas, what is on the horizon? Like, what are you guys doing now and until the major?
We're gonna boot camp. We're just gonna prepare for the major. I don't really think it's wise to play the just pit of like online CS CCTs. I think this will, if it goes bad, you just destroy your confidence, right? But like these cups are like so brutal. Like I think if some, like, I wouldn't say all of the tier 1 teams, but some of the lower tier 1 teams played these cups consistently, I think they would struggle like a lot of teams, right?
Yeah.
Like, because one tournament, some teams will go 3-0, some others go 0-3, because it's just carnage. But yeah, the plan is just to hard prepare for the major stage. We still haven't had enough server time. Like we have that time now to prepare. So I believe we're just going to do that.
Makes sense. Striker, do you have any questions, anything to ask the two of them before we could do the quiz quickly and then go into like general RMR and some other teams and stuff like that?
No, I think we covered it.
Yeah, I guess then, Lucas, when we can bring up the quiz. Are you familiar with the Skinionaire, gentlemen?
That way you choose the price of the skin.
I mean, no, it's different. This is more like you answer quiz questions and then you move up to the ladder, and the more you get correct, you get to a more expensive skin that's going to be given away to the people in chat, which is based on...
I'm going to be rubbish at this.
Be one of the BNE fans, which is 90% of the chat right now. So flatroo, you have to do pretty well. It's you're going to both be involved.
I won't disappoint them.
And no cheating, no chat, no. Are you gonna roll up your sleeves into tank top?
Well, yeah, man. I just feel much more comfortable in a tank top,
Are you gonna make a special jersey for the?
Definitely,
for the major?
yeah. But that's what I was thinking. Is it allowed though?
I don't
There's a
know.
lot
I
of
think
online games.
I don't think that would be
I
a
think
problem.
sexual content can be like on the edge, and you know, you show those biceps. It can be very arousing, maybe for the admins. Maybe they like look into your favor or something. So maybe on the edge right there.
Yeah.
And if we saw Jackie show off that much skin in that button up t-shirt, I think you're gonna be fine with fucking armpit.
Yeah.
Like, I think you're gonna be okay.
Bigger than Jennifer Lopez at that one, like Grammy or whatever. The boomers will know. The boomers will know what I'm talking about. That's all I'm gonna say. Also, me feeling as a boomer is when I saw Latic from Aurora. I'm like,
with the glasses.
I don't even understand what is this? Like, what is this trend? I feel like my parents, when they saw the first like goth person or something, or like a metalhead in their life, it's like, what is this? That's how I feel right now. So open the thing, and you're gonna have. You can click the thing, and then the question is going to show up when you're ready, and there's music and stuff. You guys can click the answers.
Wait. I have a... What the hell?
It's on TeamSpeak, the link.
Oh, there was a weird noise, but I think it's fine.
That's from the thing.
Okay, so what do we do here?
There's going to be a question. You have 60 seconds. You pick the answer. I say if it's correct, and then we move 5 questions all together, and then we give away skin. Write BitSkins in chat to participate in the giveaway at the end of the quiz. Okay, let's go with question number 1. And the question is, this one is for flatroo. In which of these teams did Thomas not play? Was it Contact, Envy, or No Chance?
Okay.
It's easy lock in for Contact.
Should I say it out loud as well or no?
You can say it.
Okay, but, Contact, I think, yeah.
Let's see what the answer is. And that is correct. Okay.
Nice, flatroo. Nice.
Yeah, brother. I've been following you, brother.
Big fan.
Okay, question number 2. This one is for Thomas. What was the team in which juanflatroo and Synopsy shortly played with the French player IGL and major winner and Deagle highlight maker Happy? Was it Genji, Secret, or Blink?
Secret, right? Has to be.
Yeah.
And the answer is, that is correct.
Yeah.
That was also one of these weird overlaps.
I think I actually played them.
Did you beat them?
Don't know. Maybe.
Don't think I ever lost to you.
Happy?
I think you lost a couple of times, bro.
Did I?
Yeah.
Find me one game, bro. I'm curious, actually.
We're gonna look this up for sure.
I'll get on
Secret
that.
versus Endpoint,
yeah,
bro.
Striker, please do
I
it.
think I also farmed you.
There's no chance, man. There's no chance I ever lost you.
I was farming you, bro.
No, it's not no chance.
Farming me as an IGL?
Question number 3. Now you can cooperate on these together. Which of these countries has had the most players attending majors? Was it Czech Republic, Kosovo, UK?
Definitely not the UK.
So it's all appearances combined. So let's say you attended 2 times. That's two attendances.
Oh, okay.
You have to click.
Maybe Czech Republic.
Kosovo was selected.
It's Kosovo.
And the correct answer is
Kosovo should be.
That is correct.
Who is from Czech Republic other than Oscar?
I think it's just Oscar.
Just Oscar, right? Neofrag.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But you guys had 4, and like
I found some evidence.
Yeah?
I found evidence of Endpoint beating Secret on the 8th of May 2020.
No chances.
What is the
2-1 in Home Sweet Home Cup 3?
What is Thomas's stats?
I'm looking at stats. Thomas was bottom fragging, but
I was farming you, bro.
But it was
okay. There has to be another one. There has to be another one.
No. There's a last map. Inferno was you were top fragging, but over the whole series you were bottom fragging.
Unlucky.
flatroo was worse.
Really?
0.96 rating against 1.08.
Crumbling.
He was bottom fragging, but 1.08 rating.
Yeah.
So he's fine.
I told you it was close. It was close.
Okay, question number 4. Going good so far. Which team has the highest seed at the whole Blast TV major? Is it Na'Vi, Heroic, or FURIA?
This is tough. We can talk. I mean,
surely it's Heroic, right?
Should be between Na'Vi and Heroic, but I'm not sure, to be honest. It's definitely not FURIA, but...
Yeah,
but this is done off.
It's based on the
The Valve
the
ranking,
seeding.
right?
Yeah. It's not
But,
the
like-
Valve ranking, it's the seeding of the groups
Then-
that
Okay.
determines.
Should be Navi, to be honest. Because
Think?
were you last seeded in the RMR?
No, we were second
And then you
to
played
last.
Navi in the first game, so...
No, because
Record,
the
do you want
highest
to help?
seed in our group was Virtus Pro.
I mean,
Yeah, and then it was Navi, right?
should be Navi.
Yeah,
Should be Navi, yeah.
let's go
So,
Navi.
let's just go Navi.
And the correct answer is?
Got a feeling it's heroic though.
Hey,
It's Navi.
don't you ever doubt me.
I mean, it's actually based on like Virtus Pro won the last major, so like the #1 seed of Europe goes to
That group.
like basically
okay, yeah,
like,
yeah.
defended from the
Because they
last
have
major.
like
So
4 legend spots, so they also have the first legend spot, which is kind of funny because it was the weaker group, probably. Question number 5. Which of these teams will not compete at IRM Rio? Is it G2 and Liquid, Mongols and MIBR, or Imperial
That's
and Fury?
G2 and Liquid. Because I think G2 said they're gonna boot camp or something. I think I saw NiKo say that. They're
Yeah.
gonna boot camp.
Lock it in.
Lock it
Yeah,
in.
lock it in.
I like it.
Okay.
And I saw Insta stories of Marek Sikindar partying in Latvia. I don't know if you saw.
Ah,
And the correct answer is G2 and Liquid. That's easy. $50 skin, which is a different skin than last week because of the skin inflation. So now we started with a knife, then it was like gloves, and now it's just an op. Like the skins are exploding. It's insane.
Yeah.
Who's the winner? It is Beve CS.
oh
Isn't
my
that-
god, Bevy, the UK guy won.
Yes.
That's
Been
it.
following
Congrats,
since
Bevy.
21. There we go.
Okay, enjoy the skin.
Okay, we can roll the ads for a short bit, and then when we come back to the break, we'll do continue with the RMR discussion.
It's a good vibe, train, 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 train. It's a good vibe, train, 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 train. It's a good vibe, train, 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 train. Good vibe, train, yeah.
Finally, I found what I was looking for. Now that my search is over, it's gonna be a tough choice. But fortunately, no need to choose. When you can just have them all. Buy and sell skins on BitSkins.com.
Best esports odds. VIP program and a variety of bonuses. Fast and easy withdrawals. Bet on every possible CSGO matching tournament, as well as any other esports game. Only on 22Bet.
And we're back. So in the meantime, we found out that the guy that won the skin actually has an HLTV profile, and he's been playing actually on a kind of decent level. He's currently in a team called Into the Win. And before that, until February of this year, he was playing on Viperio that went to the RMR. So shout out to him. That's funny. Shout out to Bebe. And what about the games that these two gentlemen plays against each other? Striker, do we have verdict on who did better? Who
I mean,
farmed who?
they are 1-1 against each other. Apparently, they played a bunch together on that
Wait.
Phoenix team, but they are 1-1 against each other. It seems.
Yeah, but
There's-
look, I totally dominated him in the game that I won, so I still take the lead, right?
I mean, that's
Yeah,
if
of
that's-
course, man.
Bro, what is this team? Windigo.
Windigo,
Yeah,
yeah.
I didn't
Oh,
know you
this
played
team,
Windigo.
man.
Thomas and Bubba.
Yeah.
Tell me about this team. Tell me about this team.
Alex, Poison,
Oh my.
Hudson. The hell.
Yeah, that was a weird one. I just, yeah, I don't know what to say about that Windigo team. That was just mental. Poison was about to join Complexity at the time. The team had just exploded, like typical Bulgarian CS. Like after succeeding for like how many, they were really good for like a year.
Windigo were decent at that time, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then they just like full exploded. I don't know, like what happened. But yeah, I know Poison was joining Complexity at the time. I don't know. It was just weird. But that entire
yeah,
Hadji was there. We had Poison. It was Bubble, Calyx. I was just like, what is this team? What is this group of people? Like, this is
why am I here?
Yeah, why am I here as well? Like,
yeah. I mean, at some point, even I played a couple of practice with them, with Windigo, but I was the only Albanian, and then there was 4 Bulgarians, as I remember. I don't know what they were thinking, but yeah, it was kind of weird with the Windigo management team.
What is Bubble like?
I mean, like as a person?
Yeah.
He's really calm. Yeah.
Like a really nice guy.
Yeah,
really nice, yeah. Super nice guy.
I mean, he's still playing around. He did a lot. Let's talk about one of the topics of the week, and that is Astralis. So just to start off the discussion, we asked some people on Twitter to give their opinions because, as we know, the people on Twitter and generally on social media are the smartest, and we should read more of that and just base our opinions on what they say, essentially.
Definitely.
So we asked what realistic changes should Astralis do to become a title contender again, and there's a couple of cool ones. We're gonna start with a couple amusing ones. Lucas, you can just start bringing them up. I'll read them, and you can see. And then when we go through all of them, we'll discuss actually Astralis. First answer. I can't read the names of people because it's not loading really for me. But the first answer is sign Copenhagen Flames. Oh wait, too late. So that's a good one. Let's continue. I love this one. Go North American. Yeah. As a kind of a joke on all of the Go European for NA orgs. I like that. This is kind of inverting the expectations, subverting the expectations. Sell the whole roster and buy BNE. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, this one makes more sense. Yeah, definitely vouching about this one.
I'll be supporting that one.
How would you feel? Imagine you in an Astralis jersey. How would that? I actually feel like it would fit. Like it's the same colors, like black and red.
Black and red, kind of. Yeah, not big of a change, to be honest.
Yeah, would definitely guarantee some more major success than Astralis had recently. There's another one that says make Hunden chief coach and hire Forsaken as analyst. Learning from Akuma demos from the last RMR would also be a very good idea. I also like this. It was just
a throwback, man.
Yes, yeah. This guy built on all of them. So shout out to him. I think we have some more serious ones coming up now. This is one. It says just go international at this point. I feel like this is a thread that we can catch on to later and see if it does make any sense. And then we have this one this is a very standard opinion. I feel like now is about Glaive and Zipex being kind of the problem. Let's say they should step back to coach / guide younger talents. Denmark has a good player base. It's time for them to retire. I don't know if retire is really what they need to do, but maybe in this team doesn't really make more sense. And I think the last one we have now is this is just a team. S-Attack, Blame F, Stare, Buzz, Device with Blame as IGL. We can, Striker, take me somewhere. Where would you start with this whole Astralis discussion?
I mean, actually, I really like the last idea, but that sounded like a pretty legit team at this point. Obviously, I think a lot of people will kind of, to some level, will also scapegoat Buzz, but I don't think that's necessarily been. Of course, he hasn't had the best performances, but let's be honest, he's just a super young guy, and it's not like he will change the course of the entire team. I think it's fairly obvious that Glaive is struggling both on an individual level and also just leading the team. So that's where I would generally probably start at this point, because I don't think, especially after the role changes that have been in Astralis, I don't think Zipex has particularly a lot of impact on the results. I think he's just like a decent fifth piece. I don't even think his stats have been particularly much worse than they've always been like in Astralis. So I don't think he's that big of a difference maker, because it's obvious that they really heavily rely on BlameF and Device, and they are reliable, but you can't win matches with just 2 players, right? And Buzz just isn't a third star at this point. Maybe he will get there at some point. He has like flashy moments. At this point, it doesn't look like he's super ready for tier 1, but maybe a few months down the line with a bit more experience, he could get there. But, at some point, the longer you go, the more you're going to look at the oldest players and wonder, if they still have it in them to be an actual like tournament winning team. You know, obviously they're not terrible. They've had some decent results lately, but not making it to the major is going to sting.
Yeah. Thomas, what do you think about Astralis right now? Obviously, the way they crashed out and the teams that they played against makes, I think, a huge difference in teams, like comparing them and someone like Cloud9, for example, or even FaZe's struggles. What do you think is the problem?
I don't know. I don't think you should want Astralis to go international. I think it's actually pretty cool when you see teams from regions. Like I was like a really big fan of that old Vitality team. Like, yeah, in essence they had like weaker players, but they played much better CS than they do now, right? I think it's sort of like underappreciated when you're communicating in your own tongue.
Yeah.
I think it's very like people just don't appreciate like the difference it does make. So 100%, I think Astralis should stay Danish. I don't know what's going on with their team. I think maybe they're just holding on to like their era a bit too much. Maybe they need to like let go of that unless they bring back like some more, I don't know, core members like Magisk or something. I think they're sort of lacking a Dupree or Magisk, if that makes sense. Like as a solid player.
Yeah, the domestic, like both of you kind of obviously you're British, so for you international team doesn't really make that big of a difference.
Yeah.
For the most part, if you add like one or two external players, flatroo, you guys have made the domestic super team practically. So I guess you're still also on the page of like, don't go international if you don't have to.
Nah, not really. A team is much more composed if they're speaking their native language. I mean, in and out of the server, everything is just much easier. The moments that you spend together, the communication that you have during the games, like it's much easier to understand each other. You're always on the same page. So yeah, definitely stay Danish, but to find some young, new blood, hungry blood, you know.
For me, like just watching them, I was paying a lot of attention to Astralis, especially because before the RMR we were making the power ranking, I'm like, they did have some good results, and I was like completely, I don't know what the term is, but I was blinded by like, oh, they beat Cloud9, they beat Spirit again, like this could be going okay. And honestly, in some of the maps and some of the games, you can see like, oh, things, when the initial plan works out, they're like, oh, this looks pretty good, right? But then, especially on some maps like Mirage, that nuke against NIP on the T side, as soon as like their initial plan doesn't work, it looks so bad. Like I know people would say like, oh, BNE is such a pug team, but like they looked like a pug. They looked like 4 people, like because someone dies, like the entry doesn't work, and it's like 4 guys just like shift walking around with no idea how to finish a round. They're just like, everyone's just like looking for a duel, and everyone's too afraid to commit to something, like a play, like go wide swing, jump entry somewhere. Like all of these young kids nowadays, and just teams in general, you have so many like micro tricks to enter, to find an entry here, to like clear something, to get info. Like the way Astralis was doing is just like, oh, Glaive is just shift walking into an angle, he dies, and the guy doesn't even get traded because there's the way he entered that duel is like, oh, I'm just going to win the duel if I take it, but you're not going to win it. You're not doing it, and you're not setting up the other guy behind you to win the duel either. And it's just, I saw so many of these 5v4s, 4v4s just like completely lost. There's, even if the call was like fine, like they're hitting the right bomb site or an okay bomb site in theory, the way they're doing it, it just doesn't work anymore. And that's why like the Glaive aspect for me has to be a problem. Obviously they were without a coach there because 2 of the coaches that they have are both banned from major events, which sucks. But it's the same thing that we've been seeing with Astralis for like 6 months now. Like it's practically the same issue. Sometimes you see like Buzz popping off and then everything looks a bit better, but for the most part, he's kind of inexperienced. You could see like, you could literally see that he was shaky in some of the duels and under pressure.
Yeah.
And of course it's going to happen like that because you're an Astralis player and you're like 19 and this is your first like big event that you're playing. But I don't know, I was just so disappointed overall. I was very frustrated watching them play.
I think there's a big clash, to be honest, with Glaive and BlameF. Like Blame's an incredible IGL, so is Glaive, but they're always like low key they're always going to be like fighting each other, because I think Blame has a way of playing way different to probably Glaive. It allows him to play the game way more, but I think Blame F style is literally him calling, and his team succeeds also around him. I think, yeah, it's a unique style, but like it does work. It can work. I don't know. I think there's just a clash of the way to play with Glaive and Blame F. I think one of those two have to like make room in essence, right, for the team to actually like become a team.
Yeah,
I have to say
that's how it feels to me.
Yeah, I have to say that like I even brought it up on Twitter at some point with like them giving up so many opening duels, but like it was really two maps that skewed it really hard, because I think overall they weren't that bad in that in terms of converting advantages, or just getting openings and not converting them. It was mostly that Mirage map where they've been shit overall, to be honest. I think that's the worst map by far that they play, even from like the online results just a couple of months prior to the RMR. They had something like 1 win in 6-7 matches or something like that, and you could see that in that Spirit series. I was really just like face palming at points because of
it's crazy that
they just aren't moving.
How do you not know how to play Mirage? Like that's the thing. Like, how do you not know how to play Mirage? Like it's so basic. Like Magix was destroying them just like playing an off angle.
Yeah.
Like get one kill and then wait
there
like
was just no
seconds.
trading whatsoever. Like,
and then a guy peeks him. Is like, okay, I guess I get another 1v1 and I'm better than you, so I'm just gonna win it. And just that's what kept happening. I was shocked.
I mean, I thought that might be just the Mirage problem, but then I saw that Vertigo against an IP and it was the same shit, man. It was Nuke. This, yeah, Vertigo, Nuke, I think they just got destroyed kind of like on their T side. I get it. Sometimes it will happen. You just can't enter like upper for your life. Like you're always going to get destroyed. Like some of these games sometimes happen on Nuke. I feel like I can at least look past it, you know, but then in Vertigo, they had so many advantages again and then just threw them away in almost the same fashion, just like not being close enough together, just in positions to trade, and it just happened the whole thing again. So I was just so disappointed with how they played in those couple of maps, especially.
What did you want to say something? Yeah, go for it.
I think the management just has to like have a real actual conversation with some of the players. Like, what do you think's happening? I also think it's incredibly awkward. You know, you got Hunden there who's done his stuff, and you got another banned person as well. Like, it's always going to be tough when you go to RMR's major and you can't even have like your key stuff there, you know. I think Endpoint also have like the same issue right now as with Raging as well. Like, he can't attend. Like, it's just like a bad situation for both parties.
What do you want to say, Flutter?
Essentially, I believe not only Astralis, but many teams need players with the fire in them, with the will and desire to succeed. Because you know, Glaive and Zip already won like how many 3-4 majors in a row. They won everything that's out there, and feel like at some point you just need to make way for the younger generation, with the people that are actually having that big fire inside of them. Because I'll put it in me, like at the moment, like I have this big fire that's like I just want to win every single game. I just want to grind every single tournament. I want to win every single game. Go there, do my best, you know, achieve as much as I can. But at some point, winning just gets too casual for you, you know. And I feel like that's the situation with Astralis at this point. Just need some hungrier players, you know.
Yeah, I mean that is completely fair. I think also in terms of the Mirage thing, I don't understand why they even play the map at this point. Like they should just play Ancient.
I mean, we're assuming BlameF is still calling there, right? I actually haven't.
Anubis.
Yeah, BlameF is still calling, right? I didn't actually pay attention to it. They were talking about it, but
it's true.
I mean, it's been the case for a long time, and I know even like after some months that they first said that, they still played like that. So I feel like it's still probably the case, unless something changed fairly recently. So
absolutely horrendous. Honestly, like I think just mentioning Device because we didn't talk about him. Like he has been great. Like he's been amazing. Even though like at some of these maps, like for example, some of the Mirages, like I would say the eye test, it almost feel like he's playing bad. Like he misses a lot of shots, which I feel like he didn't miss before, and some of them do lose them rounds, but at the same time, when he pops off, he literally wins them the games. Like, and he's the only one doing it almost, except for BlameF. And overall, he has been great. But I feel like his like break that he spent playing Face It like for a year kind of changed him a bit. I feel like he became more of like a Face It player, because he doesn't really just sit still and just take it. He's always doing something. He's like pushing almost sometimes too much, it feels like. But maybe that's also because of the rest of the team is not really delivering.
I was exactly going to say that. I mean, like, you're going to be pressured because there's so much, like, they do rely heavily on those two having impact, and like if you're in that position, if you know that you just don't have a third guy who will just like have a big game, if you're not on 100%, then of course you're going to get pressured to do more plays, to have more impact and stuff like that. I think that's just natural.
From my side, it's not even a criticism. It's just more like just something that I noticed, especially because people talk about Device, this passive, methodical opper. I don't really think in the current scene he's not like, in terms of what other popular like top oppers are, he's definitely more on the YOLO aggressive side than the passive calculated opper or something like the what essentially he was known for before. I feel like that kind of paradigm, or like the description of Device, just has to change, because it's not really
that's not the case at all. I think if anything, he's probably one of the most aggressive oppers at this point, just because of how prevalent it's become to be this calculated guy who's always going to throw flashes for his team.
Let's move on to the other teams that missed out. I think Cloud9 and Spirit are the two big names. Actually, just open up for the rest of you, Thomas, starting with you. What is the team from the teams that missed out? What is the biggest surprise or a team that you think should be there?
What, at the major?
Yeah.
D9. I feel so bad for these guys. Like, I don't know. Like, it's brutal for these guys. I really felt for them when they lost. So, yeah. I think Spirit and Astralis are sort of going through their own problems. I think maybe there's like a lot of pressure on the Spirit guys because their academy is unbelievable. Like, they've got this donk, Art Frost, I think his name Baz. These guys, honestly, like, I wouldn't be surprised if Spirit just randomly say, all right, we've just promoted FURIA and demoted FURIA. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, these guys are just so talented and they're really like just owning people. Yeah, C9, brutal for them.
What do you think, flatroo, of these like teams that missed out? What does stand out for you?
Actually, I feel bad for Cloud9, really. Like, I saw a moment when Shira started crying mid-game. It was really heartbreaking. It really showed how much he wants it, and that's what I want to see at almost all the players, man. If everyone plays in that way, like the game, like the scale of the level of the game gets much higher, actually. But about Spirit, I believe they've been in a pretty poor form lately.
Yep.
Even in CCT, they lost to Ants. They lost to Movistar Riders, which Movistar Riders were pretty bad at that time. They
memed about that.
They memed about themselves. They said, like, we're not even coming here to win. We came here to win a single map, and then they went on. They went on and beat Spirit in a pretty good fashion. It was 2-0 or something. Yeah. And if you get beaten by a team like that, whose expectations are not really high, I mean, there must be some problem. I mean, I feel like they need some time off and think about these things, what's not clicking and what's going wrong, because maybe a switch of playstyle or something. I don't know, because things have not been going good recently for them. But yeah, also Cloud9 with a Buster move.
Oh, rest in peace.
Sure about that.
Oh, there you go.
Oops.
You cut out for a moment.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that's it. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. Striker, how do we break down this Cloud9 result? Like, what happened?
I mean, I do have to say that obviously, it was a bit unlucky for them that in the last chance qualifier there was FaZe there already. If there was probably any other team, we would have them through. That was like the first thought that I had, because they lost to G2, which is fair enough. Like, that's just going to be a strong team. That's a series that could go whichever way at some point. Hence is the loss that I think a lot of people will look at, because they've only started playing well recently. But at the same time, like they've proven to be a pretty strong team. I think in the past couple of months, a struggle at the beginning at the RMR, but I still think that NertZ edition has made them such a big contender. So I think they got unlucky in terms of matchups for sure, but at the same time, like you could see that the mentality just wasn't there. At some points in those losses, like some of these other teams, they will just not break, under the pressure. But you see it with Cloud9 kind of consistently. We've seen it crop up time and time again. And it was the same case, like in the FaZe series especially, but even in the losses before that, where they just didn't compete, because of whatever, something stupid happened in the game. They obviously dropped the whole big lead on FaZe, and you could see that they were just broken after that.
Definitely. I also believe one of the key factors is removing inters. Playing with the guy for like 2 or 3 years. I remember back in the time when we were playing Gambit Youngsters. I mean, it was the same core: Exile, Shiro, and Inters, and Nafany as well.
Yeah.
Well, removing one of the core players with which you played for like 3 years, you have to take into consideration that you're gonna have to need a lot of time to get the new player into the system and kind of click in together. So I think that's what's happening with them at this point.
Yeah, I also feel like I've seen, like, obviously the game against FaZe, they get the perfect start, they get the pistol win, you get a great first half, you get Axel, Shiro are playing amazing on Mirage, they go on the second half, they win the second pistol, I lose the first buy, and then they win the round after that. It's 14-4 or something, 14-5. I don't know. It is literally, this is a lockdown. This is, you win this. And they just kept on losing and losing and losing and losing. The T side completely non-existent. And I feel like I watched this T side 10 times already from Cloud9 in like the Stockholm Major, in Katowice, in every fucking big event when they play against like a good team. FaZe,
the Imperial. Do you remember the Imperial one that they lost on at Antwerp? I think I watched
only a bit of that game because I was traveling and I was like giga shocked that it happened. But that was the same.
That was the same vibe to me on the T side for sure. Like they just didn't know what to do.
And it's not even like when, for example, when I see Astralis struggle, like they would get like into some situations, but then they wouldn't capitalize on the good situations. But when I see Cloud9 play, they don't even get into any situations. Like every round is start to finish, like FaZe was just dominating. Like there was maybe a few rounds at the beginning of that run from FaZe that were like, 3v3s and this and that. But then it just became like a complete stomp. Like they couldn't get an entry, they couldn't get a trade. It was like 5v3, 4v2 all the time. And it's I don't know, it's an indictment on the team and the calling for sure that this has been like a continuous thing. For me, it's just super frustrating to see, especially because you have, Axel and Shiro that should be great. But
I think it's harsh though. It is harsh. I think they lack somebody who rallies them,
Yeah.
They don't have a guy who's like, when you're really down, like you're struggling, like they don't really have a guy to pick up the team, like sometimes, well, you'd think it would be like Hobbit, but Hobbit doesn't really come across as that guy.
No,
but it would be like Nafany, but like it just, I don't know, really
every here and there.
Like you need somebody who's literally going to be like, come on guys, like really hype everyone up. Really hype everyone up.
Yeah, I think Nafany's good at that when the team is winning, but once the team is losing, they just lose even that, because everybody else is just so stoic. And now Buster is kind of the same thing. I've never seen the guy even smile. I feel like I don't remember the guy like showing any sort of emotion generally. So I feel like it also has to come a little bit from behind. I mean, the problem is Groove is exactly the same guy. You will not see him even like pissed off like about something that the team did wrong or whatever. Like whenever the teams take timeouts, he's super like calm-mannered and all that stuff. And sometimes you just do need the emotional leader, in some points, but especially in moments like this, where you're like 14-5 up, you lose like 5 rounds in a row or whatever it is. Like that's when you take a timeout and you just tell them, wake the fuck up. Like, what are we doing?
Did you see
that doesn't happen?
Yeah, just before flatroo, if you can just turn down your sound a bit because it echoes. Like when I speak, sometimes it goes back. So just like lower the sound just a bit on your side. But yeah, talking about Cloud9, when they lost that comeback against FaZe, like when FaZe came back on them. You just see like Cloud9 Nafany is getting up, like he gets his papers from the thing and he's giving it to Groove, and Groove just looks at him. Like there's no like tap on the shoulder, there's no interaction. It's almost like he's just giving in his paper, and Groove is like this disappointed dad looking at him. Oh my God, son, you did it again. I can't believe you fucked this up. There's no like, oh, never mind, we're gonna do it. It's fine, you know. Nothing. There's no emotional leadership there, and that is tough. I know it's very much a thing that is hard to quantify, but it's for sure a problem for Cloud9. There is no way getting around it. But at the same time, they could also have just won that fucking game much easier. Like, even I feel like some of the pressure also gets to like Shiro and Exile, because when it was like 14-5, 14-7 or something, there were a few rounds where they had decent positions and there was like a whiff from Shiro. And it's like, if he just hits that shot, they win the round. They probably close it out, right? And there is a bit of that, but for sure the pressure, I feel like that pressure comes because they know how they lose these games. I feel like in that, even if it's 14-5, they don't really believe 100% that they are going to win the game, and they should, right? Because on paper that's like a 95% win rate. It's a very tough thing to solve.
It's hard mentally though, because you saw it with a lot of teams during the RMR.
Yeah,
like pressures are like immense. You know, like well, from my perspective, like we were going in with no care, but you know, expectations is so high with all of these teams, so the pressure's going to hit you hard, and it just depends if you just survive it, really.
To be honest, it's more of a tier 1 games. It's the events and everything. Competing at this level, it's more about the mental warfare. Whoever's prepared better mentally, I think he has a little bit of advantage always.
Yeah, someone in chat just mentioned Boomic, and he said, "What Ruliko?" He said, "Would Boomic make sense in Cloud9? He's pretty hyped IGL." And actually, I even though I was like, I don't know about this, and I don't know about his results now, and he's not even IGLing, but some like insight that I got from Jonta, who's now in Valorant, but he used to be I think in Windstrike, he worked with Boomic. And what he told me is like, he's a guy that can really diffuse a bad situation with like joking around and stuff like that. And he said that is also probably why it worked in Navi so well, because he was, I don't think anyone thinks today even that Boomic is like some like genius IGL, but he was like the mentality that he brought in, and like whenever anyone would be kind of in a bad mood, he wouldn't really take it in. He would take it in like a sponge essentially, and just like say, okay, whatever, say some stupid joke and move on from there. And I think that point of view, that is something that Cloud9 need. I'm not sure Boomic as a player is the solution, but like something like that would be really good. Who is that on your guys' team when everything's fucked up?
That's what I was to say, because there is many moments when it happened to us as well, when everyone's just down in a really low mood. It's usually happening on online matches, like nobody talks. It's like a graveyard in the team speak, but it rarely happens. But when it happens, we know we're gonna lose. Like, we know we're not gonna perform, and we kind of separated the roles. You know, we have Sceneri saying jokes in the team and talking shit to GX, and it makes us laugh. It makes us get back into the game, getting into that good mood, and continuing with the grind, you know. But every time we're like low in the mood and we're like dead, nothing goes right. Like, definitely nothing goes right. It's like you're a whole different team, and I believe like it's a key factor, having a good mood and having a good chemistry between each other, like being all on the same page, you know. It really plays a huge role that people don't even realize how much of an impact it plays, actually.
Yeah. What about Into the Breach? Who raises the spirits?
To be honest, I think it's me and CYPHER.
Yeah,
we're very like open people, like we're very on it. But I definitely agree with Juan. You have to like have a good environment. Like, not only is the environment important, but you have to have this like jokey aspect, especially when it starts getting tough. But some teams they do it differently. Like Russians are like Russians, right? They're very placid people. Like, but then you find like a dime in a dozen, like Boomich, who's just outgoing. You gotta have something, but it's also how the players react to it, right? So like these guys in Cloud9, they might not react well to it. You just don't know. What works in like flatroo's team might not work in another team.
Yeah.
Same with my team,
Yeah. We went. Let me just go through the whole list of the RMR. Oh, okay. I lost the RMR results. Essentially, teams that qualified 9 in first place: Heroic, Vitality, Monte, G2, Force, NIP, ENTS, and then eliminated Cloud9, Big, Aurora, 500, Eternal Fire, Astralis, Spirit, and iNation. I think we can switch to the teams that went through and did well to some degree. Maybe, someone in chat actually asked about BOROS and NertZ, because Thomas, you played with these guys, endpoint guys. What do you think? Obviously, we spoke about BOROS a bit, but is this surprising at all? Was this always? Did you always see them going to the majors?
Yeah.
Being like,
NertZ and BOROS, they're both tier 1 talents, without a doubt. Both of them. Like, I didn't play with NertZ. I did a little bit, but the guy's a complete package, right? NertZ is. That guy has like no limits on him. BOROS, I think, is different, but still a tier 1 player. He's gonna be like the type of tier 1 player who will turn out to be like close to like a NiKo maybe. This guy has the skill to be like NiKo. NertZ will be like a really top like contender for top 20 end of the year. I'm pretty certain. Obviously, CS2 is about to explode everything, anyways. But it's crazy to see how many talents have come through Endpoint. To be honest, like even like with Flames and stuff, Mezzi, like it's pretty mad.
I was kind of surprised to see that BOROS at some point, I don't remember the entire story around it, but I remember I was really surprised to see that BOROS left Endpoint and what happened there, because it didn't make any sense to me. It was very clear that he was going somewhere. Any sort of insight on that?
So when I was in the team, we went to the Stockholm major, the RMR, and we had all the visa issues. But even before then, we didn't adapt, like as in the team, maybe, or maybe to be honest, I don't think Max adapted so fast to allow him into like his freedom sort of like roles, where like you watching him now, he's like literally he's deciding what he's doing and stuff, and you just got to give a guy like that freedom, right? And we were trying to put him into the Medi roles, which back then he was like a 1.25 rated player. Like for us, he was insane. So we tried to like plug the hole with him, but he wasn't that guy. And I think that Max was so set on using that system because that system was working really well with Mezzi, but we didn't have the caliber of player like Mezzi to replace him with. The only person was maybe NertZ, but by then I decided to leave. And I think BOROS was just sort of like then put down a step, like NertZ is now the big guy, the big boy of the team, and you're just gonna be another player, like another soldier.
And didn't work out in that way. Yeah. That makes sense.
Well, it's kind of crazy because he was in the first place. He was clearly very talented at the role that he's playing now. He's literally like being sent into Mirage Connector and just like go destroy people, and he does that all the time. Like it's kind of crazy that that kind of a talent has only now gotten the chance to really play at tier 1.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the storylines. Obviously, Monte went through, and reading the LMBT interview at the end was pretty heavy interview. And you can also see in the way they spoke about like just how they see themselves. I think the way he said it, like a lot of people look at teams and they look at teams like Astralis or NIP and whatever and look at their results, and the results can be like good, can be bad. But he said, regardless of our results, we knew on the server that we are better than all of these teams because we know that we shoot harder, that we played, 150 maps this year, played like so many of these, and we like also like the fire, everything the Flasher was talking about is definitely there for these guys, and it just came together in a perfect way. But when you see flatroo, when you watch Monte, did you see any like similarities to how you guys are playing and like your path to the majors?
I will be honest on this one. I didn't watch many games of them. I watched only the last game, I guess. Who were they playing against? I don't remember. It was an overpass game. No, it was an overpass game. It was a qualification game. I'm pretty sure. Who they played the last game?
Blanking, but I'll check. It was FORCE. They played FORCE.
It was FORCE. Yeah. It was kind of seemed similar at some point when I saw BOROS just charging in and trying to get all these injuries and everything, similar to what Regan does for us, and the rest of the team kind of just glides together and tries to finish the round, you know. So you just unleash one of your players, you know, take space around the map, and the rest kind of find an idea, find gaps around the map and work around it. Yeah, it was kind of similar from what I saw at that map. So
yeah, it was them and 9 that were like the big, let's say, surprises of this team. Which team do you see being better long term? What are you laughing about?
I'm laughing about 9 because they've beaten us like 3 or 4 times in a row, and it was.
Is this one of those games that you're like losing to them? Like, how can I be losing to these guys?
Always. Because I didn't respect them that much back then, but now I see they proved themselves, and I'm really happy for them, and I'm happy I lost to them, and there's a reason I lost to them instead of just bitching at all. They're running around and killing me, you know. They actually proved to be a strong team, you know, and that feels good for me as well, you know. Like,
what was difficult about playing them? How did they?
It's tough because they have K, I guess. That guy tilts the shit out of us. Like, you have no idea. He just runs around the smoke, does what he wants, and then we are kind of similar players, you know. And when someone does it to us, we kind of get out of control, you know. But lately, you know, we've been trying to solve this problem because it shouldn't happen in a professional environment, you know. Like, you can't let 1 or 2 individuals take the focus out of your game, you know. So yeah, he was always like the black cat to us. Yeah, it was tough.
Okay, I remember some teams I'm pretty sure I'm talking about the right team. But some teams were talking about 9 as being the most innovative team out there. Like from practice results and stuff like that. Teams at EPL apparently were talking up 9 a lot in terms of that they come up with like new shit all the time.
Yeah, 100%. We take a lot of stuff off them.
Really?
Yeah, okay. I think 9 are a great team to actually like learn from. But I think, to be honest, ever since they got Hades, that guy is just like the GOAT, right? They picked him up, and I think everything just like clicked instantly with the lineup. It was sort of like one of those, what if this lineup could be made in Poland? And eventually it did, and now it's, I don't know, like I think they're gonna do great at Rio, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw the Hades announcement, not when I saw it, like I heard about it a bit before, and this is also a time when it was, you know, Hades went to this team, but at the same time it was like EG was looking for an opper, NIP was looking for an opper. I'm like, he's actually going to a Polish team. Like, what is happening here? Like, obviously his stock wasn't as high, so I maybe thought like no one wants him, so maybe that's why he has to do this. But he did also speak about like he actually wants to play with these guys. He knows them from before. Some of them are former teammates, and he's been farming. And obviously, even when he left ENCE, I don't think he left ENCE in a super bad point.
No,
he was okay, but maybe not what they wanted. They want to try something nice, newer, and also with losing Spinks, you kind of have to upgrade somewhere else. Like, and I think it made sense. But yeah, it's very nice to see him delivering again. And as you say, he's the GOAT. He fucking farmed this event.
It's such a cool story, right? Because like I remember from the end of the ENCE times, and it was always very obvious that the guys at ENCE liked to play with him, and they liked the guy for his personality and even the way he played the game. But maybe the problems were that he just didn't handle like not having good games sometimes very well. Just like was a little bit too down on himself for that, and just didn't like had some confidence issues, you know. And you could tell that if he gets over that, maybe there's a better future for him, you know. And that somehow that's what he found in this team. Could have to do with just going back to the Polish roots, whatever it is, you know. I'm not sure exactly, where he found that confidence again, but he just plays like a different player, man. Like he's so like in clutches, you can see that he really knows how to win them, you know, and all these situations that's, you know, previously in Lance he would be kind of invisible in, and now like he just finds a way to win situations for this team that's he otherwise wouldn't have.
He was the system upper of Ents, if you ask me, like especially on the T side. He was very much just like, go here, hold this angle while we do our executes. And obviously Ents is a team that's like very fast, so it's not really a lot of time or space for the upper to shine. But also Senpai, at least on the CT side, has been destroying. So it's not super bad, but definitely confidence and like big game plays weren't there for Hades. In some of these like major playoffs and stuff like that, he would disappear. So that was pretty rough. But you get that experience, I guess.
At the end of the day, it's a win-win situation, you know. Like Ant's got a stable opera now, and Nine got a new superstar opera. So it's
everyone wins.
Everyone wins in this situation.
Yeah, it's really nice. Also, it's as we got like a UK, we got a UK team. Now we got a Polish team back on the major for the first time in 5 years. We have a Polish team at the major, which is actually kind of incredible to think about from that way. At the same time, the Swedish scene has been sucking, and the French scene also sucking. So you win some, you lose some, I guess.
We have a lot of new people coming in though at the same time.
Who do we have?
I mean, Kixon, First Macedonian. There was like there was a good list from M&Ms, I think.
Yeah,
I forget everybody at this point, but we can go through it.
I just wanted to see the rest of the team list. There was
first Jordanian since Berlin and BOROS, obviously before that Issa. Most Dutch people ever, which is two, still not that many, but previously it was just Chris J, right?
Chris J, yeah.
Most British people ever. I mean, we've talked about that. Most Israeli players ever. And then most Norwegians since Cologne, at least Russians since Krakow 2017. I think that's an interesting one. Obviously, it has a lot to do with Cloud9. And also Spirit not making it. I mean, those two teams, had they made it,
Yeah,
I mean, generally, that's definitely been the interesting point here.
That's kind of crazy. I mean, other than that, G2 made it through. Heroic kind of lived up to their billing of like farming these kind of events and not really faltering. Big, I don't think anyone's really super surprised that they didn't make it through. NIP kind of scraped through. They had, I would say, a pretty good draw overall. Like, obviously, I don't think anyone thinks that NIP is a better team than Cloud9. But it is what it is. Does anyone think NIP is better than Cloud9?
No.
Yeah.
I think even NIP thought that they weren't better than Cloud9.
Yeah, like C9, right?
Yeah. So out of everything else, is there any other team? But we can jump to Rio in a bit. But out of all of the results, anything that is interesting to you guys? Any team or player that caught your attention in the RMR B?
I think one of the ones that kind of surprised me that they weren't a little bit more competitive, even though they had some close losses, would be Eternal Fire, because I expected them to be kind of somewhere on the verge, and just like depending on the matchups, maybe they just get a rough draw or something, like they will not have a chance, or maybe they will play like a BNE, you know, whatever it is, like it's, and then lose to them because that's just like a close matchup, you know, that they're always, I think we even put them in like the group of 4 dark horses, right? We had like 9, Monte,
Aurora,
Aurora and Eternal Fire. And I think I put them at the beginning of that list exactly because of their experience, you know, because we haven't seen Monte, we haven't seen 9 at like some of these lands, but Eternal Fire, we've just had the experience. Didn't really show up so much. I think couple of close losses. I think against the Aurora, they were like overtime on the last map, overtime on the first map. Yeah, so like it just really went the other way, and not necessarily because they didn't have what it takes, but just like the last moments of some of these matches, they just couldn't pull over the finish line.
I think that's like something to talk about in general. Just like we talked about, like the emotions and the pressure and everything, but in some of those games, you could see these players. Obviously, they're not like perfect tier 1 decision maker robots. Even in their prime, but in some of these games, the things that were happening, the kills that were like being given up,
the Aurora one, right? Especially
the Eternal Fire against Aurora, I was losing my shit. Like, obviously, I have a soft spot for Major, and he's also like an old guy trying to make it to Paris. He's like from France originally, played in the French scene. the way some of these, like even Xantares was dying, like, you know, getting one kill, turning away on like Inferno and Ruins, and the guy just peeks him and was like, how is he not expecting this, right? He's not even like giving a chance to his own aim, which is insane usually, to you know, to shine. There are some like some positions where he's like not even checked and he gets like one kill and gets traded, where he should get two, maybe he gets three if he's playing as he's normally playing, but it doesn't really happen.
And they had
that's
like
where the pressure, you know, comes in. The pressure really hits Xantares. If he doesn't show up, I think that team struggles a lot. So
they even had like 11-4 on Cloud9, that Vertigo match before that, and just like rough to not close these things out, because like that's just going to cost you at a tournament at this level.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, let's talk about IM Rio for a bit. This is going to be a weird event. Last minute, we saw Virtus Pro pull out, not kind of last minute, a few days before the event, and Imperial got invited. I guess you guys, if you could go, would you have gone, flatroo, to replace?
It would be rough, really, because we travel in Australia in a week, so it's only if we would travel straight from Brazil to Australia, but it would be pain in the ass, because right after Australia, then we have to travel to France and play the major, and then it would be rough. It would be really rough.
I feel like it's a pretty, obviously because of this, this tournament is going to be weird. It's going to be a big like Asterisk event. First of all, like teams like FaZe and Cloud9 literally flying. It's a fucking long flight. Even if it's direct, it's like 12 hours to Rio, and you get wrecked there. And then you go there and you have like maybe some media, maybe you skip the media day, you go directly into playing. You're going to be jet lagged a bit. It's going to be, and also the motivation is going to be super down in the dumps for, I don't know how, let's talk about Cloud9. What do you think Cloud9's mental is going to be? Are they going to be like, oh, okay, now we're going to reset and bounce back? Or is it going to be like, I don't want to live, everything sucks, I don't really give a shit about this event?
I think the big pressure sometimes, even losing is good sometimes, because you kind of get rid of all that big pressure that you have, and if you're having a strong mentality, you just carry on with whatever's in front of you, right? So the big pressure is off. I mean, you have Rio now. That's what's in front of you. You just go give your best.
I am a bit worried that this came a little bit too close, man, because like literally you're basically going on a flight immediately after that loss to FaZe. You're probably spending 12 hours in a plane just overthinking everything, and you're just kind of going through all of that. Absolutely not. I mean, even thinking about the tournament that's ahead of you probably. And so I think mentality wise, it's going to take some, it's going to take something special for them to recover, I think.
Yeah, because when I talk, most of the time I talk from my own point of view. Like, I don't know, for me, it would just be a blessing to play another tournament, you know, like head up, whatever you have in front of you, take it, you know?
But you're obviously in a different position, you know, Cloud9 we're a team that just had to be there, you know, they've just been there for so long, and suddenly they're not even at the major. So different situations for sure. I mean,
you mentioned 9 as having a good shot. What do you think 9 can do in Rio, Thomas? Give us like a real, give us something.
Semifinals, 9 to semifinals.
Okay. 9 to semifinals. Okay. Yeah. So that could be even if they just top the group, they're in semis.
Yeah. I think they stand a good chance.
Wait. If you top the groups, you're in semis.
Yeah. I like,
it's the 16 playoff thing.
Right? I was putting my fantasy together, and I was like, I would have given some 9 players a chance, but they're playing Heroic in the first round, and I know it's best of 1, and it's always a bit different. But Heroic they're basically the only team that I now back, like in these situations against lower teams, even in best of 1s. They just so rarely lose these that I feel like 9 could not have gotten a worse match. Literally everybody else, put them against Navi, put them against FaZe, put them against Cloud9, Vitality. I don't give a shit. Like Heroic is the one team that I wouldn't want them to play if I wanted to go for an upset, right? So I think that's the thing that might come back to bite them, because they also have like Big and Mouse in the other match, so could be a rough run.
These are the groups, and I'll just read how the matchups look. So it's Heroic 9 opening round, best of 1s for the openings, and then best of 3s for the rest. Herc 9, Big Mouse, NIP, Imperial, Mongols, Navi. That's Group A. So 8 teams. The winner, the team that wins all of their matches goes to semis, and then the other 2 that go through go to quarterfinals. And then the other group is FaZe, NertZ, FURIA Fnatic, Vitality OG, and IBR Cloud9.
Yep.
Pretty interesting, yeah.
So
yeah.
What do you think? Obviously, FaZe on paper is one of the teams that you would favor. Maybe Navi, but like considering how like stressful everything for FaZe was, do you think they are kind of their motivation is like 30%? I feel like for this event, is this accurate?
I would imagine a lot of the teams are kind of regretting it.
Yeah,
to be honest.
Probably.
I think that if there's one team that will probably just go out and win it, it's probably Navi. Depends how good Nipple plays, I think. Because when he plays insanely good, the team is like unstoppable, you know? But in reality...
Nipple was great at the RMR.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like... But I don't know. Like C9 might just like surprise everyone. They might get off a flight, have like a little team talk, and be like, "All right, we've got this now. We've got no stress anymore. Everyone else is like planning for the major. Can we show this? Can we show that?" And maybe they just go in and win it. You know, you just don't know what's going to happen at this event. I don't think.
Yeah, but I do like the Navi storyline. I think just them and Heroic also, because they didn't play in the second group, they played in the first one. They made it through like without a problem, or at least qualified early. I should say, and so they didn't have these problems that the other teams did. That's what's put them in a situation where they travel to Rio literally off the back of this tournament and just actually have zero preparation
and everything. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, and they probably have traveled. I didn't actually watch like when they exactly traveled, but I would imagine at least a few days before, so they get a little bit more time to adapt to the time zone and all of that stuff. I think they're just going to be in the best position out of everybody to play at that tournament, because everybody else just struggled to some level at the RMR, didn't have as much time, probably hasn't focused enough to even prepare particularly well for this. So,
but it's also the only tournament they're playing at the moment, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
What about?
I think that's definitely like a storyline for Cloud9, because like the next thing they play is like a month and a half later in Dallas, So obviously they would want to go out on a bang. I just don't know if they'll be in the state of mind to do it.
What about our friends from Brazil, FURIA? Like last time they made a great run. Do you think they could be kind of the dark horse to win here, just because obviously their form was not that great, but again, they topped the NA group, they had some time off, they're playing on home soil.
Yeah.
Is there a chance?
With these momentum-based teams, like even us and FURIA, anything can happen, to be honest. If you're having that good day that we all expect to have, if we're having like a good week, whatever, you get into that momentum, it's hard to stop a team like that. So I think if they get in the right momentum and right state of mind, and also having the local fans cheering for them, could be.
Yeah. Striker, who are you having as the underwhelming team of the event? Who are you going to watch and be like, why is this team the worst and I hate them?
I'm curious about, like, I'm not going to answer like that's Fnatic for me, but I am curious about how they will play, because I think the RMR was a bit misleading in terms of, obviously, they didn't play the best teams and they struggled against them. They were like basically in losing positions against both Viperio and Bates, and like just pulled it through in overtime in one of them, and then like 16-13 against Bates or something in the other, when it was like 13-12 against them. And I think that they've just not been in the greatest form lately, and I feel like that's they're not going to do super well in Rio. I do think that they're in on the side of the bracket where it's maybe not going to cost them as much, because I think FURIA is also not in the best form, and FaZe, we know that they've literally just traveled over from Copenhagen, so they probably also won't be in the best. So I think just the side of the bracket that might still give them a chance, but overall I don't think they're in the greatest shape at the moment.
Okay, last question about Rio and Fnatic. Thomas, why is Fnatic one of the most boring teams to watch?
I think they're great to watch.
Yeah.
You know, watching Messi and FaZe play.
You're just because you're like watching Messi and it's like, oh, this guy, and just
Yeah,
like
yeah.
hard
My guy.
My guy, yeah. Nah, like to be honest, they play a unique style of CS. I don't think it's fair to say that, you know, they did struggle a little bit at the RMR, but I think it's always hard when you're such a favorite and you're playing against a team who has like so much hunger to beat you. Like, and you know, it goes two different ways, right? Like when you're fighting against a much higher team, right? Like I think they're ranked 10 or something in the world. It's you know, it's they're thinking, we can't fuck this up, and at the same time, they're like, guys, we can fucking do this, and it just fights against like each other. But I think when they play like actual like well normal teams for them, right? In Fnatic, I think they're fine. To be honest, I think that it was just kind of a nail biter, like you know, for Messi and stuff playing the UK guys. It's always dodgy when you're playing other UK people. When you're one of them, it's probably the same in other scenes. But yeah, I think they'll do fine, honestly.
Okay, let's go into viewer questions because there's especially a few questions for flatroo that I have to ask. People need to ask them, but we're going to run the bumper, and in 5 seconds we're back to address the questions.
Okay.
Time. You like the graphic, Thomas?
Yeah, the graphic was very nice.
Yeah, it's very. Yeah. It's like the whole show is like very serious, talking about CS, and then it's just like the music. You don't have the music. The music is insane. The music is the best part.
Reminds me of Peppa Pig, sort of like
that is what the music is like too.
Yeah.
Super Mario.
Baby Shark. This is the question. I feel like I don't know. There are some great IGL in chat, like someone just organized the whole chat to start spamming the same question at the same time. But the question was for you: what is the future of BNE in terms of the org? Is there any news? And was there any truth? You need to look at the camera right now. Look at the camera. Any truth to the TSM rumors?
When did these rumors come?
I don't know. Like I think it was multiple times. I think the latest was like a couple of months ago when they kind of announced. I don't think it was like rumors, like big reports, but like people just talking. And you know.
I'm not sure about that actually. We let these things. We let banks manage these things, but yeah, there has been many orgs trying to approach us, but I feel like they come at the wrong time. They just come right after we qualified the major, and that's like not what we want, you know. Like we're looking for something more stable, something for the long term, you know, because like we're in this shit for the long term, and we really just want to grind for a long time. And we came to a point where we just every time we qualified, someone approached us, and then they want to be part of the stickers, right? And then we thought we'd rather just continue on our own, you know. And then after the major, we could do something, but things just didn't go as we expected. And I mean, we just continued the grind with or without the org, and we let banks manage all of these offers, you know.
Yeah. What did let's say after the major, why did nothing pan out? Was it the offers in terms of salary, or was it like short-term contracts, or like the orgs you didn't really believe in? What was the problem?
Yeah, some of the orgs were orgs that maybe we did not believe in, and then also we had high expectations on the orgs. You know, we wanted some really good orgs with the big name, you know. But that's pretty much it, to be honest.
Yeah.
They just came at the wrong time most of the times, and
did they come asking for like actual share of the sticker money, or just wanted the logo in the game?
I mean, I didn't check the contracts, but I'm pretty sure, yeah. So,
Oh.
but yeah,
that makes no sense for you guys, by the way. Obviously, like you just fucking qualified. You earned those stickers. Like it should go to you. Like it's not has nothing to do with the org that just comes after. Like, can we have a piece of that, please?
Yeah, I mean,
like,
we grind for 5 years. I qualified for the major, and then you want to share the sticker. Like, like, I'm willing to give you the sticker, but not the percentage of the money, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, we also had the high expectations. To be honest, that's one of the reasons that we didn't end up in any org. We just wanted like some good org with a big name and a strong org behind us, because we're really motivated and hungry to continue the grind, and so we just want to settle that, get a good org, and just continue the grind.
Yeah. Yeah, people can leave questions in chat now, especially because we're just gonna shoot them. I have a few from Twitter and Instagram. There was this guy, why did I misclick and close the window now? One guy said, seems like the questions are flooded with B&E fans. This guy is DD8342. So he says, Thomas, fish and chips or beans on toast?
Fish and chips.
100%. Is this 100%?
Yep.
What's the best place to get fish and chips?
Well, I don't know.
Is it like every quarter? Is it like fucking every quarter the entire
every village, every town you go to, there's a place. It's like kebab in Turkey, you know. Fish and chips everywhere.
Yeah,
like kebab everywhere in the world.
Yeah.
But is there your place? Like if I would go to where do you live? What's the
I live in Norwich.
So if I go to Norwich, do you have like a place? What's the place you'd take me to fish and chips?
I don't know.
Your mom's house.
What the hell?
That always works. Shout out to the moms, as they say. Question, what else do you have? I don't know if this is going to get me in trouble, but it's a guy on Twitter, Gent Selai. He ask flatroo, do you buy or cook?
It's a common question that we ask here in Kosovo.
What is it? What does it mean?
Our sense of humor is kind of weird, man. You know,
okay.
Like, we just have fun. We have fun out of nowhere with just random shit, you know.
Okay.
But yeah, I cook. Yeah.
You cook. And what's on your phone wallpaper?
My phone wallpaper. It's B&E, guess. Right. Trying to hide the messages. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay, I thought I don't know when I'm asking these questions if there's something internal, or maybe I'm gonna strike some gold and it's gonna be, I don't know, super funny picture. This was a question I asked. flatroo, will you help the young talents in your homeland to achieve something? If so, I love you.
I'm trying to do my best, like definitely, yeah. But there is a lot of potential. There is a lot of will from the young guys to achieve big things. It's really interesting. Fun fact: there's like 100 of gaming clubs in here, with like the newest PCs and monitors, like hundreds and thousands of money being invested into gaming clubs. And it's like nowhere in the world you can find that, you know. It's crazy. Yeah. That's how much passionate we are about like gaming in general. But there is a couple of guys that I'm personally dealing with, but I don't make anything public. So yeah.
What is can you give us some names that we can go back to like 3 years from now and be like that guy that flatroo mentioned here?
I mean, I already did. I got Makaze. That guy's like, he's turned 16 now, I guess. He was 15. We got him an invitation to FPLC. He's been doing there pretty good. He has like 5.5k elo, that motherfucker, man. Whoa. 16 years old, and he's just rocking the face at games, you know. I believe with a little bit of experience and with the right mindset, can do a lot. Can do a lot in the near future. But definitely, I'll do my best to stand behind him with all that I got. You know.
Someone said, ask Thomas to do Thomas the Train sticker for the major.
I tried it. They denied it.
Really?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah. I tried it and they denied it.
That sucks. Here you go, firsthand for the sticker people.
Yep.
How's your guys' stickers? Are you happy with what you sent in the end? Just normal or anything special?
Well, they turned mine down 2 days into the RMR, so like they sort of saw me down the river.
Yeah, and you're like, well, whatever. And now you qualified, and like, maybe I should have sent something better. What about CS2? This is a question. What are your impressions? Do you feel confident about it? Do you think it's going to change much?
Change everything. I think it's going to change everything. But I, to be honest, I'm more scared for the game. I think the game's in a perfect state. It's growing. I think we're still hitting peaks of players. And I think this is a massive unneeded risk to probably change the game so drastically. Like, you know, you're nading smokes and they're vanishing. Mm-hmm. It's going to change everything, really. Like, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Who do you think, I don't know, profits from this? What kind of players profits or teams?
More experienced and older players will be better, I think, than aimer. Yeah, because at the moment the game doesn't feel so crisp, as everyone's been saying. I don't know. I think the smarter players and more experienced players, they're gonna thrive in it instead of the like hardcore aimers, because there's a lot of the advantages of having like really good aim is sort of like vanishing in CS2. It's more about like just simple team play. And I don't know.
Why do you think? Because like the way I was thinking about it, like for example, one-way smokes are not going to be a thing. At least it shouldn't be from my like point of view. So that means like players that would use some of these tricks some of the tricks to get easy kills are not going to be there. So it feels like aim is going to be more important.
But it's usually the strong aimers doing that type of stuff, you know?
Okay.
Like in my eyes, like I think when you watch like players like BOROS and stuff, these guys are lurking around smokes. They're insanely good at like getting the timings, and I don't know. I don't believe that the new smokes. I don't know. It's quite weird, and we don't know what the final version of the game is. Maybe they're gonna just change it all, right? Like we don't know. But I think it's a pretty big risk, but it could pay off.
Yeah,
or it could not.
Flatroo, what do you think about CS2?
I played it a couple of times. To be honest, it's pretty smooth actually. I liked it. Yeah, I liked it. I mean, in general, CS is about the team play, the chemistry that you have as a team. Like, even if you change it, even if it changes for individuals, it won't change too much for the whole team, you know. So I think the idea of the game is still the same, other than the shooting itself. I don't think much is going to change, to be honest, from what I saw.
Okay. Recker, do you have any questions?
No questions.
No questions, Your Honor.
No. I was just gonna say that I think with what individual kind of opportunities the nading smokes provides, I think there's still going to be a lot of like, you know, solo plays that aren't necessarily possible at the moment, exactly because you can just nade a smoke, basically run through it and like negate it completely, right? So I think obviously there's still a good chance that Valve will change it, the timing, especially like how long it will remove the smoke, because at the moment it is very powerful. Like it really removes the smoke for like good 2 seconds, which is really a lot of time to do that. So there's no real risk involved in just like nading smoke running through it. It feels like there should be like at least a little bit more of a less of a reward, I guess.
I mean, good luck going down secret on nuke. With the smokes. Like,
that's one of those.
It doesn't make any sense, to be honest, but
Yeah, but it could be anything, right? Like you can just have a teammate set up, like you're outside of overpass monster, and you can just have a teammate set up a nade, and you literally just like have him nade and run through it like immediately. Like there's gonna be a guy perched up on that on the railing like in front. Yeah. He's just gonna get fucked because like he's suddenly like aiming against the guy, you know, with an AK. So I feel like some of these little skirmish plays that aren't necessarily possible at the moment, or you just do with pop flashes. Like you can do it with nades now too, and so like there's going to be these even more of these small plays that you can do between two players or even solo sometimes.
Yeah. Let's close it off. People are asking where's Chad. Chad is in Rio. He's, I think, probably doing the media day right now as we speak, because kind of midday-ish, or at least it was when we started.
It's like 4 hours difference now, so it's not that big anymore.
I mean, when we started the show, he was probably doing it. So he's not here, but he should be here for the show after Rio, which is going to probably be like Tuesday, Wednesday, something like that, when Rio finishes. So in like 9-10 days. We had a really nice episode. I really enjoyed this. This was really, really fun. You guys, we didn't really have a lot of like 2 guest episodes like this. You guys were very nice to like work off of each other. I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
It's the Phoenix synergy.
That was I was about to say, we still have a little bit of the synergy, you know.
Of course.
Played together for 1 month. Played like 100. I saw it, bro. You guys played for like 20 days or something, and I saw at HLTV you have like 20 games together. Like how like that was a grind.
That was the tier 3. That was the tier 3. Yeah. That's how it works. So any final thought, questions? Flatroo, we can start with you. Anyone you want to shout out or anything else?
Any final what?
Final words before we end the show.
I would just say to my guys, keep supporting us. Think ditt mera på vinlasen. You do som fan det på förklara en juryn. That's it.
And please be nice to me when I say, I don't know, BNE are not top 5 in the world. Thank you. Please don't aggress upon my DMs. That would be nice. Thomas?
Just like England football, it sometimes lets you down, but it might be coming home. We don't know.
Okay.
Might also be coming home to Kosovo, so who knows?
Yeah, well, great show all in all. Really enjoyed this. We're going to be watching Rio this upcoming week. Really enjoyed the RMR. For me personally, probably the best event. The major as well, but the RMRs are something else. Like so many cool storylines, so many underdogs, so getting to know new people and seeing some of the big dogs sweat more than they ever had. I think Hunter said it well. It's more pressure playing these games at the RMR than in front of an arena of 10,000 people, and really feels in the game. So really special. I'm really, obviously there are issues with the RMR and everything, but I'm really hoping that we can keep it, improve it, and keep it for next year for CS2 and the first major in Denmark. Gonna be crazy. Closing the show. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks to BitSkins, SteelSeries, and 22Bet for being our great partners for the show. One final thought also, we will be doing a live show in Paris before the playoffs, so that will be Wednesday at the major. So stay tuned for more info from there. There are going to be tickets, limited tickets for people that want to attend. And that's it. And good night, everyone.
Good night. Thank you.
Finally, I found what I was looking for. Now that my search is over, it's gonna be a tough choice. But fortunately, no need to choose. When you can just have them all. Buy and sell skins on BitSkins.com.
Best esports odds. VIP program and a variety of bonuses. Fast and easy withdrawals. Bet on every possible CSGO match and tournament, as well as any other esports game. Only on 22Bet.
He's a good vibe, train, 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 train. He's a good vibe, train, 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 train. He's a good vibe, train, 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 train. Good vibe, train.